Hey, happy Sunday. I was looking at some trailer reactions of Superman, and I had told you guys my thoughts about Superman. And I was thinking the other day about there was this YouTuber, I'm not going to name no names, but she did trailer breakdown, and she really did not I could tell that she didn't like she's a pretty big YouTuber, and she didn't like you know her trailer breakdown was, just she found so much wrong with it. And then there was this another big YouTuber, I like him too, and he said that the trailer was he said it was safe. It was a safe trailer, but the other person, she just found all kinds of stuff wrong with the trailer. So I uh I was like, so my thing was, I was like, you know what, I was thinking, I was listening to them and stuff, and I didn't, they were just giving their opinion about stuff. And so I was like, I was just listening to the trailer and all kinds of stuff. But then I said to myself, Superman's never been my favorite uh, superhero. I liked him, but he's never been my best superhero. My best superhero was, you know, was uh, it was it was actually uh, it was actually Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Marvel. Now, as far as DC, I did like Superman, but there was a lot of DC characters because they got a lot of DC characters in the DC universe, you want to call it. They got a lot of library of characters in DC, and their DC to me has always been more darker than Marvel. But I read a lot of Marvel comic books, not too many DC comic books. But you gotta understand, I was born in 1959, so back then, it was just different. Comic books was the thing back then. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is, I was sitting back thinking about the other day. I was like, you know who my favorite Superman was? Believe it or not, it was Smallville. Smallville was my favorite Superman. It was my favorite. And he didn't go by Superman. He went by Clark because uh, it was the high school version of Superman when he was in school, and he had his parents on the Kent farm. And guys, this is my favorite of all. Smallville is just it's just it is. I haven't even opened this up. I've had this all. I'm almost going on 2 years owning this, and I've not opened it up. The only reason why I'm sharing this with you is because Tom Welling was my favorite Superman, but he wasn't Superman. He was Clark in this. He was Clark. But I was looking, and I was trying to think about who really was my favorite Superman, and actually it was. If I had to make a choice, it would be Christopher Reeves, because I was when Christopher Reeves came out with Superman. Superman 2 was the best one that he put out. Now the rest of his Supermans I didn't really get into, but do you realize that, I just want to put this out there, I do not have a nostalgia with Superman, so I don't have a Superman movie in this in my whole video collection. I don't have Superman versus Batman. I don't have I don't have any Superman movies in this house. None. And then I would have to say that if I had to pick, if I had a choice, I would say Christopher Reeves is my favorite Superman. And then I'd say George Reeves is my favorite Superman, because George Reeves was his Superman. He his Superman. He died in 1959, and I was born in 1959. So that shows you how old Superman was when he made that. When he made that, you know what I'm saying? So that means that when I started watching Superman as a kid, George Reeves was already dead. He died of a suicide. George Reeves died of a suicide back in 1959. He committed suicide, but yeah, he was the Superman that I liked as a kid growing up. So I didn't even know he was dead because I was born in 59. He died in 59. So that means they made Superman before I was even born. So when I was growing up, I was watching Superman and I liked that. I liked that version of Superman. And it always had an impact on me. And then when I was younger and I was smoking weed, because the only reason why I was bringing this up about me smoking weed, and I was going to a lot of concerts, and I go to a lot of rock and roll concerts, and I was trying to get built, and I was trying to lose weight, and I was trying to get buffed up, and all this kind of stuff. He came out with, George Reeves came out with Superman. Superman 2 came out. I don't even know when it came out. I'm trying to look for it. Now all this Facebook crap. So Superman 2 came out. Superman 2 came out in 1980. I had graduated in 1978. And Superman 2 probably is the best one out of them all. So I did, Christopher Reeves would be if I was to say, who's your favorite Superman? It would be Christopher Reeves if I would say, But I always have a special heart for Christopher Reeves because the reason why I was always saying I was smoking weed back then, because you have to understand, I graduated in 1978. Superman 2 came out in 1980. So that just tells you how young I was. And I remember when it came out, man, it was like something that just was like, wow, man, And the first Superman, his first Superman, I remember it coming out and it was good. Superman 2 came out in 1980, but I don't know when. That means that he had to have there's other Superman must have came out. All I see is Superman 2. I don't see anything about Superman. So I graduated. Yeah, see, it's just, that's why I hate to get in front of this camera, because it doesn't tell. The only thing I could think of is the Superman that came out, Superman 2 came out in 1980. But what I don't understand, they don't have, all they got is Superman. They don't have Superman, the first Superman that he was in. It's just Superman 2. That irritates me because this is the what? It just, I don't get it. Anyway, I ain't gonna get into it. That's why I hate about getting in front of this camera, because it should have all this other, or maybe I should just read my research. But anyway, Superman 2 was the Superman that I liked the most, and it came out in 1980. I'm not even gonna try to touch the first Superman. But anyway, I remember Superman 2 and it was really good. So all the rest of Supermans I didn't care for, even the one he had Richard Pryor in. But it was all right. Don't get me wrong. So I was listening to all the people talking about the trailer of James Gunn's Superman. And I thought the trailer was okay. But, I kept saying to myself, well, who is your favorite Superman? And I would say it would be Christopher Reeves if I had to pick one. Then I would say that Henry Cavill would be second. And then George Reeves would be third, because George Reeves was the black and white Superman. And then Brandon Routh, I didn't think he did that bad in his Superman, but I went and seen that movie, and I didn't think it was that bad, but it didn't do that good. A lot of people didn't care for it. So his Superman was, I remember going and seeing his Superman. I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest with you. But when I went and seen it, I thought it was okay. Superman Returns. That came out in 2006. I went and seen that movie. I didn't think it was that bad. But then again, people didn't care for that movie. He only had one shot at that Superman. That was it. Then Henry Cavill came out with Superman, but I didn't go to theater to see it. I think I caught it on a rental or something. And I thought that was, Zack Snyder's Superman was, pretty cool. And I liked Henry Cavill. He had me working out and all, keeping myself fit. I was more relatable to Henry Cavill because he works out with weights and all that. Not that I'm saying the other Supermans didn't. Christopher Reeves just had that. He had just everything. Well, he had the tallness, he had the physique, He wasn't overbearing with his muscles. He just had Christopher Reeves he nailed him. He nailed him. So I was just thinking about who is your favorite Superman. I don't really have a favorite Superman, but if I was to pick one, it would be, it'd be Christopher Reeves number one, and it would be Henry Cavill number two, and it'd be George Reeves number three, and it would be Brandon Routh as number four. And none of those movies, I was like, oh my God, it's the greatest movie ever, because they just never was. They just never was. I just wasn't that guy. Everybody knows, all my boys know, that I'm a big Spider-Man fan. But Spider-Man is Marvel and Superman is DC. If you was to say who is your favorite DC character, it would probably be Batman. And I couldn't understand why I like Batman so much, but then I got thinking about, you guys got to understand, I was born in 1959. We didn't have all the stuff we have today. When kids got out of school, they had a certain amount of shows that came on. And it was shows, they didn't have stuff in it that you had today. You didn't have to worry about messages, and you didn't have to worry about watching two dudes kiss and two women kiss. You didn't have to watch all that. It was just kids get off work, girls were girls and boys was boys. It was male, female. Okay? I don't get into that stuff. Y'all know that. But I'm not going to be that channel to talk about that. But what I'm saying is that when I got off work, when I got out of school, Batman Robin was on. And Batman Robin, that Batman Robin them came on. That was a nice little series, And so Batman and Robin would be my favorite. Batman was my favorite, but Batman and Robin that came on because you had Batman and Robin that came on back in the day, but I can't find it because every time I go to look for stuff, I just can't find it. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. The Batman and Robin show that came back, it was on back in the early 60s. I used to love to come home and watch that show. I really used to love to come home and watch that show. And it was so colorful and it was man. So anyway, Batman was my favorite. If I had to pick a DC guy, DC character, super character, it would be Batman. And I couldn't understand why. But now I know why. Because I was never into Robin, but I like Batman and Robin. The series that was on in the 60s, had to be in the 60s because I was born in 59. So I know I was in the 4th or 5th grade when I used to come home, or 3rd. Wasn't it 3rd or 4th grade? Anyway, you guys know what you guys know what series I'm talking about. And I used to love the car. And man, I remember when I had Hot Wheels. I had a Hot Wheel car like that back when Hot Wheels was big. Man, brings back memories. Boy, I tell you, times are so awful now. It's just terrible how things are. Always got to put all this bullshit in here. Sorry, pardon my French. But anyway, I got thinking about Batman. So I was like, okay, I think I know why I like Batman. Because Batman could be killed. And he had to get out of certain situations. Yeah, he was a rich boy and all like that, but he lost his parents, and then he could fight, and then he had all his little gadgets, and I think that's what I fed into. And then in turn, I like Superman because I like when Superman, the reason why I like Superman, because Superman was Superman. The only way you could do Superman in is you had to get kryptonite. But kryptonite was very hard to get a hold of. And Lex Luthor had his hands on it, and the military might have had his hands on it, or the people might, certain people might have had it in laboratories, but kryptonite was hard to get a hold of. And, that would put Superman down. But other than that, you couldn't do nothing with Superman. He's faster than a speeding bullet, and, he had the strength of, he just had unbelievable strength. And when he used to, rescue people, and I used to love how he used to throw people and go and bust through walls. So you're a kid, you get into this. So that's why I did like Superman. But when I was watching these trailers and watching all these people's trailer reactions of Superman, of James Gunn's Superman, I didn't see anything wrong with that. I hope that thing does good. But it just made me think about why I like Superman, but how come Superman never was my number one superhero character. He was always like in there, but he never was like the number one. It was always Spider-Man. Spider-Man was Marvel, and Superman was DC, and Batman's DC. But I think the reason why I like Batman so much, I related to Batman because I think even as a kid, I was like, this guy can be killed. Or Superman can't be killed unless he just has, in a cesspool of kryptonite. But, Batman just seemed like he could be killed, and he was just a regular dude that had fighting skills, and he was a problem solver, and you could feed into that. That's why I think the reason why Spider-Man is my favorite of all superheroes, because Spider-Man was just a young dude, man, trying to fit in, and had a crush on a girl, and he had these failed relationships. He couldn't make rent. He had the weight of the world on. He lost his uncle. He was trying to take care of his aunt, and he was just so daggone relatable, man. And Spider-Man's just always going to be. He never used his abilities to get rich. He never used his abilities to bully people. He never used his abilities to rob. He was just a regular dude, man. He got bit by the spider, and he became Spider-Man, and I think that's why I like him. But then when I sit back think about Superman to wrap this up, I was like, man, what is my favorite Superman? And it dawned on me, it's Christopher Reeves. So, what did I just say? I said it was Christopher Reeves, right? But technically, it ain't, because if I had to look back, Christopher Reeves, he's no longer with us. He was the Superman that I like. And I did say he would be the number one Superman. But you guys, this is the best Superman I have. I get it. You got Lois and Clark. You got the Lois and Clark that came out in the late 80s or 90s or something. I remember that show. You had this latest Lois and Clark. I heard rave reviews about that. I get it. I ain't watching it. It don't suck me in. It don't grab me. That Lois and Clark back then didn't grab me. This Lois and Clark, I heard great things. It didn't grab me. I tried to watch a couple episodes, just could not get into it. This is the best Superman version of all. Tom Welling, to me, is my favorite Superman. In a way. But he wasn't Superman. He was Clark. In this movie, he was always Clark. He was always Clark. Because he wasn't Superman then. He was becoming Superman. Now, as you see, I got all the seasons. I haven't even opened this up. But if you look, this is Smallville here is 1 through 5, okay? 1 through 5, right here, it says 1 through 5. It probably ain't in focus, but this is 1 through 5. This is the best. 1 through 5. When I got to season 8, I got to season 7, I started dropping off. But this one here, right here, is 6 through 10. Now, I didn't watch any more of Smallville. As you see, I didn't watch any more Smallville after I got past episode, I think it was season 7, I started dropping off. But man, Smallville 1 through 5, it was just, CW just kicked butt. And this is the best version of a Superman to me. And I've never been able to feel what I felt with this. This cast was just so perfect. This was the perfect cast. I mean, Michael Rosenbaum is his name, I think. The guy that played Lex Luthor. I think that is the best Lex Luthor. And yes, I get it. There has been some good Lex Luthors out there. But that Rosenbaum dude, he was by far Lex Luthor in this, and his dad, and Clark Kent's mom and dad, Clark Kent's love interest, Chloe, that girl that played Chloe that got in trouble a couple years ago, it's in prison because she was with that cult. The black guy that was Clark Kent's best friend, all the characters that they intertwine with these series and all the stories that they told, man, right here. This is by far my best Superman. And that's a tall order to beat Christopher Reeves. Like I said this 10 minutes ago, I said Christopher Reeves. If I had to pick one, it would be Christopher Reeves. But I don't have no love to buy those movies. And that's why I'm making this video, because I'm sitting there going, I do not have not one Superman 4K in this house. And why? Because I know I won't watch it. I will not watch. I probably won't watch even the one with Christopher Reeves, that one that had Superman 2, because I know that's the best one that it was good. Now, if I probably watched it, I probably might get into it. But you guys, this by far is my favorite Superman. And at that time, he was not Superman. He was just called Clark. But this is by far, this cast is just a chef's kiss. And the thing about this show is it didn't do no check off. It didn't do no check off the boxes. It didn't do no dotting the I's, crossing the T's. It didn't do none of that. This show, they had some heart and soul when they made this. This is so good. And I just wanted to drop this because I was like, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all. He's by far, hands down, no ifs, ands, buts about it. If I had to go to DC, it would be, Batman, because Batman is a problem solver. He's like his own detective, and he has these fighting skills, and he's a rich boy, but yet he's out here doing all this stuff, and he can have a broken leg, he can have a broken arm, he ain't had no superpowers. So I think that's why I can relate. But Superman, I did like Superman, but he just never was one of my go-to. But I did like Superman. But if it comes to Superman, like watching the Superman, this is the only Superman that's in this house. I don't have Batman versus Superman. I don't have any of that. This right here is the best Superman version ever to me. This Smallville, and this is a little show that was on CW. I let my daughter. I bought my daughter like season 1 through 4 or 1 through 3, and I sent it to her, and she goes, "Oh my God!" She was much younger then. She goes, "Oh my God, Dad, I love that show." She goes, "That show is so good." I said, I told you. Well, I was much younger then too. She's in her 30s now. She was in her 20s. She goes, "Oh my God, Dad, I love that show." So yes, right here. If I had to make my choice, but James Gunn, I hope you do good. But like I said, I seen that trailer, and I think that trailer was fine, and he has all the way till July 11th to get that thing right, So I hope he pulls it off. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go see this new Superman that comes out. But as far as Superman, this is the best version at all. Even people could say, "Oh, you might want to go try watch it." I said, it don't matter. I'll watch it and I still won't. It's something about this series that was just, I was in my 40s. And I used to come home because I had to work all these jobs because I had child support that was killing me. And I used to get cut. I don't know if you guys know what cut means. Cut means when you're in a restaurant, the volume of people is slowing down. So the manager comes in, he starts cutting. They'll come in and says, "Victor, you're cut." And I go like this. "Oh, shoot." And I didn't have no DVR back then. And I said, "Man, I got 30 minutes to get home." I had a bad hip. I would walk home so fast. A couple times I was 3 or 4 minutes late, and I go on, turn on that TV, and Smallville be on. I never was disappointed. Never. I never was disappointed watching this show. And I remember one time I was trying to outrun this train, and I had a bad hip, and I got off. Red Lobster is in this parking lot. Then you got to go through this mall, and then I was seeing the train come, and I was running, and I was limping and running because I could still run. And I said, "You're gonna get hit by that train." So I had to wait on that train. Then I crossed the track when the train went on. Then I went through the neighborhood up the bridge, across the bridge. And I got home, it was like 8:15, and I was like, man. But then it came out, a couple of years later, it came out with the DVR, but at that time, I think I got out of it. But man, I could not wait to watch Smallville. And TV was different back then because every day had a time slot, man. You'd be like, "Oh, Smallville, oh, Lost, oh, House, what else? Fringe, Revolution," and but now you just got tons of content just being thrown at you. You would think that I would like it more, but I kind of don't. I kind of like, every time I look at this, it just takes me back. But anyway, you guys, that's all I got. I just wanted to share that with you. I know this is a little long, but I just thought I'd share that with you. But I just got to thinking, man, because I was watching that trailer and I was like, Superman's not my favorite Superman, but I do have some Supermans and there's been a ton of them. I got on here, man, there was a whole bunch of people that played all different type of versions of Superman, but Tom Welling, this is the best Superman. And he wasn't Superman. He was becoming Superman. He was Clark. If you watch this, they always called him Clark. The show is so good. Anyway, happy Sunday. God bless. Take care. We'll catch you next video. We'll see you.